Let's be honest. Every serious workplace accident, a fall, a spill, a machinery incident, it all starts as a risk that someone, somewhere, didn't manage properly. If you're in charge of keeping people safe, you know that heavy feeling. Well, today we are going to master one of the most powerful yet brilliantly simple tools for turning that worry into real, measurable control, the risk matrix. Here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll go from chaos to clarity, turning those vague worries into actual plans. Then, we'll dig into the why this tool is so critical. After that, we'll decode the grid itself, walk through 5 simple steps to put it into action, and wrap up by showing you how to make preparedness your team's new superpower. Let's get into it. All right, section 1, from chaos to clarity. We all have that little voice in the back of our heads, right? That feeling that something could go wrong. This section is all about how we grab that feeling, pull it out into the light, and turn it into a concrete, actionable plan. This quote right here gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Every single incident has a starting point. But here's the good news. There's a proven way to get ahead of them. The solution is this simple, visual tool that's been used for everything from massive construction sites to, and I'm not kidding, the Apollo space program. I mean, think about it. If NASA trusted this method to put people on the moon, we can definitely trust it to keep our teams safe on the ground. And that amazing tool is the risk matrix. So what is it really? In the simplest terms, it's just a grid that helps us sort and rank hazards. It takes 2 fundamental questions. How likely is something to happen? And how bad would it be if it did? And it mashes them together into a single, easy-to-understand rating. It's all about focusing our time, money, and energy where it truly matters most. Okay, so now that we know what it is, let's jump into section 2 and talk about why it's an absolute must-have. Why should you and your team really invest your valuable time in this? What's in it for you? Look, to put it simply, this matrix makes your job easier, period. It takes all that vague anxiety about safety and turns it into a crystal clear to-do list. It gives you the cold, hard data you need to go to management and say, we need to spend money on these new safety controls, and here's exactly why. But the biggest win, it completely flips your team's culture from just reacting to accidents to proactively preventing them. And because it's so visual, everyone, from the person on the tools to the CEO, can see the priorities at a glance. No more nasty surprises. Okay, time to roll up our sleeves. Welcome to section 3, decoding the grid. Let's pop the hood and break down how this tool actually works piece by piece. It's easier than you think. And here it is, a classic 5x5 risk matrix. The best way to think of this is like a traffic light for your risks. It's that simple. You've got 2 axes. Along the side, you have likelihood. Basically, how likely is this to happen? And across the top, severity. How bad would it be? Where those 2 points meet, that's your risk level. Green means low risk. Keep an eye on it. Yellow and orange tell you, hey, we need a plan here. And red? Red means stop. Full stop. That is a risk that demands immediate action. So let's define those axes a bit better. Likelihood is a scale. It can range from rare, something that might happen once in a very long time, all the way up to almost certain, meaning, yeah, we fully expect this to happen. Then you have severity. This ranges from insignificant, we're talking about a minor first aid situation, all the way up to catastrophic, which could mean a fatality or a life-changing injury. Getting everyone on the same page with these definitions is absolutely key to making this work. So, how do we actually use it? Well, first we look at likelihood. Let's just imagine a scenario where a particular incident is considered likely to happen. On our 1 to 5 scale, we'd go ahead and give that a score of 4. Okay, next up, we assess the severity for that exact same incident. If this thing were to actually happen, what would the outcome be? Let's say it could be catastrophic. On our 1 to 5 scale, that gets the highest score possible, a 5. And now for some simple math. A likelihood of 4 times a severity of 5 gives us a total risk score of 20. On a 25-point matrix, a score of 20 lands us deep in the red zone. Now, this isn't just a number. It's a massive flashing red light. It's a clear signal telling us this is an unacceptable risk, and we need to take immediate action before any work continues. See? It's that simple and that powerful. And that leads us perfectly into section 4, your 5 steps to action. We've seen the theory, which is great, but now let's talk about putting this thing to work out there in the real world. So here's the process. Number 1, identify the hazards. And please, always do this with your team. They're the experts on the ground. 2, assess the likelihood and severity for each of those hazards. 3, plot it on the matrix to get your score. 4, and this is so important, Document everything in a risk register. This is your master list for tracking every risk, who's responsible for it, and what's being done about it. And finally, number 5, review it all the time. This is not a one-and-done task. It's a living, breathing document that should drive your entire safety culture. Now, when you're assessing risks, you're really looking at 2 types. The first one is called initial risk. This is your worst-case scenario. This is what happens before you put any safety controls in place. Imagine someone using an angle grinder with no guard, no safety glasses. You get the picture. The likelihood of an incident is almost certain, a 5, and the severity is catastrophic, another 5. That gives you a score of 25, the highest possible. This tells you the absolute raw danger you're dealing with. But of course, we don't stop there. We introduce controls. So now, you have that same grinder, but this time it has a guard properly fitted, and the operator is wearing all the right PPE. This is what we call residual risk. The likelihood of an incident might drop way down to possible, a score of 3, and the severity might drop to minor, a score of 2. Our new score is 6. We've moved from the extreme red zone down to the manageable, medium zone. We've reduced the risk as low as reasonably practicable, or ALRRP. This right here proves the incredible value of good safety controls. And that brings us to our final section, make preparedness your superpower. This is where we pull everything together and focus on the key ideas that are going to transform how your team approaches safety. So what are the big takeaways? First, the risk matrix is simple, it's visual, and it just plain works for prioritizing what's important. Second, it fundamentally changes your safety approach from reactive firefighting to proactive fire prevention. Third, remember, it has to be a living document. Review it, update it, talk about it. And finally, it empowers you with clear communication to justify the actions needed to keep your people safe. I want to leave you with this thought because it's so important. Please, don't ever think of risk management as some negative bureaucratic chore. It is the exact opposite. It's about being professional. It's about being in control. And most of all, it is about being thoroughly prepared for whatever comes your way. So my challenge to you is this. What's the one risk you can take back to your team tomorrow and assess using this method? Just start with one. Build that momentum, and you will make your workplace safer. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the ITeachSafety YouTube channel for more straightforward health and safety training. Thanks for tuning in, and stay safe out there.